Hello and welcome to another video on the Scouring Early Access. Today's match is going to be a 2 versus 5 match with me, the Perfect Gamer, and my ally Dinchi Code against 5 of my enemies, Cena, NF, Bampo, Rebel Slayer, and Aerial W360. Here I kind of spawn somewhat far away from my ally, but still decide to play on. Here pretty much I was doing the warrior build order. So I was trying to get some high health units. Here my ally, Dinchi Code, playing as purple. Does worker rush, you could call it. Just make the worker bow upgrade, which allows all your workers to shoot at the enemy. And if you build a high ground building or rooftop building next to an enemy, then you can just bully them like this. Anyways, and the first enemy that's getting just murdered here. She probably never saw this kind of rush before. Is Rebel Slayer, playing as a human player. And I guess somewhat hopeless to do anything against this. Tries to run away, but I guess it's going to be losing a lot of his workers. Now here, the red player, Cena, does a 2 barracks warrior build order. Just gonna allow him to make a lot more units. But this build order does, I guess, require you to kill a lot of neutrals, which can feed your economy, which in turn feeds your double production, I guess, from your barracks. So if you don't kill things, then you're not gonna have enough gold to make a lot of warriors. Oh, and especially, I guess, because he forgot he needs all the wood in the beginning to make a few farms. And over here, the orange player, and F, is playing an orange human, and it looks like he's doing a swordsman build order. Just making a few farms, and I guess just having a big swordsman army. And of course, the white player just got eliminated because he couldn't really do much, and I guess he forgot to build a building. Even though we can see here he had plenty of resources to do so, but I guess it is what it is. And over here, the black player, Bampo, playing as humans. Looks like he's making a few swordsmen. And I guess he has a few archers. And over here, the final enemy, yellow orc, Aerial W360. Looks like he did a similar build order to the red player here. He did a double barracks and just made a lot of warriors. But unlike the red player, the yellow player actually made 2 farms, so he's not going to be starving. I guess the red player maybe didn't do this build order as many times as, I guess, other people, so struggling with some food. But here you can see he's just going to be overwhelming the purple player, especially because of the warriors. They level up very quickly, which allows them to basically overwhelm a archer producing enemy. But of course also the red player uses all of his workers to get all the economy. But in the meantime, the purple player uses workers to kill the white player, so that could also be a contributing factor. Here I got a logging camp. Just gonna allow me to make a few more buildings in the future. If you don't make one logging camp, then you're going to be struggling very hard at getting enough wood to make enough buildings. Over here, pretty much my ally was about to die. Couldn't really fight these warriors. But I do send some reinforcements here to try and help them out. And of course it is turned on for goblin waves, which can be very difficult to defend against. But here I managed to help my ally. Helped him to save his barracks so he can still produce, I guess, military units. But you can see here he has only a handful of workers. It's going to be a while until he can get back on his feet. Over here, somehow, my goblin wave spawned right in the middle of a yellow player's base, which allowed me to not really have to defend my base, even though I did research the bell ability, and I had around 3 warriors, so I was able to defend myself if the goblins actually made it to my base. You're just getting some XP. And over here, try to maybe attack the red player, because I was thinking that it's going to be dealing with a goblin wave, and so it's going to have some issues. But he actually just had no issues at all. He was able to just clear his goblin wave and get auto levels on his low level warriors. And here pretty much I just left a few warriors to try and, I guess, reinforce my ally in case he gets attacked. And I was just building another force at home. And of course I was making a few cannons, which can be very helpful in defending your own base. But of course you need direct line of sight for your cannons. And so I'm going to try and position them properly. From here you can see the first player, the black player, Bampo. It's the first one to get an expansion, which can, I guess, very effectively increase your economy over time. He's going to be producing workers from 2 bases. Here, yes, they're killing some neutrals. And right in orange, managed to clear this corner of the map. And it does look like the red player is going to be making another base. Over here you can see the red player decides to attack, but the well-positioned barricades of a purple player actually bought him some time to kill a few of these warriors before they are able to climb his barracks. And here I had some warriors, but I tried to bait him, I guess, over here, so my ally could maybe support me with some peasant fire, his bows. Because here we saw that his position was just a little too overwhelmed, and that we're not going to be saving this position at all. But I guess the goblins did fight to the end, and we did kill as many enemies as we could. Here pretty much purple doesn't have much left, but I do decide to try and defend them, even though that will leave my main base somewhat undefended. And here somehow we are able to beat them back. Or I guess scare them away. And of course in the meantime, the yellow player decides to attack me. And I got the shield ability, so all my workers and cannons are going to be somewhat ineffective at killing them. Oh, especially because he has a few potions, some of his warriors, so they're going to be surviving for longer than I would expect. But here I think the enemy tried to target fire my cannons, try out my warriors on the ground level to just go ham on the warriors. Which is why you want to, I guess, try to do an attack move with your melee units. So if you try to target fire, I guess, the cannons or other specific units, then all of your units are just going to be waddling around instead of actually doing damage to the enemy, like my warriors were doing here. And of course I lost the barracks, but I think I do have the artillery ability already on my cannons, which can be very effective against, I guess, archers mainly, the workers. But you can also bombard warriors. They have their shield ability, and the shield ability is not gonna, I guess, help them against the artillery damage. Oh, and I guess in the meantime, while I was busy, I made a expansion, which is gonna be very useful to get some extra resources. I guess, interestingly, black, well, he now decided to attack me right after yellow lost most of his army, which I guess is why I guess it's somewhat balanced for a 2v5 game, because our enemies are a little, yes, inexperienced in working together, which is why I was able to survive here, because the black and yellow didn't attack together. But if they did, then I would definitely lose my main base and more than half of my workers. I guess over here, orange and red can feel like attacking here because of this fortified position, which gave me the time to go and attack the yellow player, which I knew didn't really have many leveled up units, because I didn't kill his main force. And of course here, most of my warriors have a lot of potions, so even if the enemy was going to be attacking me heavily, then they'll still survive for a very long time, thanks to the potions. I guess with this powerful combo, the warriors and artillery, just too difficult to fight against. So somehow I was able to just destroy the whole main base of the yellow player, while the black player was, I guess, hanging around the middle. And I guess over here, you can see the yellow player is a little frustrated that the black player just let its main base die. So now I guess his black ally is going to be ready to do an attack against me. And black even has a third base, similar to red, which has 3 bases. And I guess orange expanded, and yellow managed to survive here with only 1 base. Here you can see the yellow and red. I guess we're still trying to kill the purple player, but I guess we had some difficulties in doing a proper attack, I guess. Lost a lot of units. That didn't really kill that many units of a purple player. Of course, over here, the black player tried to attack me, but with a combo of warriors and artillery, I was able to push him back. And of course now it is nighttime, which of course means that the goblins are going to be beginning to spawn. And I believe first wave already spawned right here, which red and orange are going to have to fight against. But of course over here, I got attacked by my goblin wave, very close to my expansion. It was a little annoying because red player was attacking me. But I guess overall I was able to clean up these goblins with, I guess, no losses. But of course, in the meantime, the black player decides to attack me, especially when I'm in the middle of fighting goblins myself. And here I could have cancelled my upgrade to tier 3 to save some workers or cannons, but it's more than halfway done, and I just thought it was more beneficial to try and finish up the tier 3. That way I could get the worker upgrade, and even though I would lose one of these workers, I could easily remake a whole lot more. But of course we can see here that the black player managed to kill a good amount of my workers, but most of his army was here, and I was pretty much going to be dying to the rest of my army here. And in the meantime, his yellows goblin wave have spawned, and now they're going to be launching away their base. And of course the black player doesn't really have much of an army, so it's going to be very difficult to even do anything against these goblins. Anyways, over here the purple player still fighting the enemies here and just surviving somehow effectively. But I guess it's pretty much because the red and orange didn't really manage to make any cannons, so any kind of run by here can be easily taken care of because of these workers and archers on top of the rooftops. Over here we can see the black bear still is having trouble with these goblins, and it doesn't look like anyone is coming to help him, which is not a great position to be in. But I guess only now the red player looked on a minimap and probably saw that his ally is getting munched away, so he decides to send some reinforcements. But I guess orange didn't feel like helping. He was just trying to, I guess, hold this position against the purple player. I think this is a little interesting. See how if you, I guess, try to attack an enemy like black did, try to attack me, kind of crippled me, but of course if you don't leave any units at home, then it can be very ineffective when you're not prepared to face the goblin wave yourself. But I guess we can see here, eventually the enemies managed to take care of the goblins. Now black is able to, I guess, return to proper economic activity, you could say. From here, yellow's still alive, even has a second base. But for some reason we can see it's not really building much. Probably because he's suffering from the lack of wood. And of course right here, I managed to do an attack against the enemies because I had all the units. And I just researched the rage ability, so thought it would be a good opportunity to go and distract the enemies. That way they could just, I guess, have their attention on me. Just gonna allow my ally, purple, to get some breathing room to try and defend himself more effectively or get more stuff. And here I saw that these two barracks were just gonna munch away all my munchers. So I decided to regroup in a main base of a black player. And of course here we can see how effective the warriors can be when they're on top of rooftop buildings. Can very easily and effectively gain you all the gold by breaking these buildings very quickly. And yes, for some reason, orange is not really helping here. Maybe he's just trying to attack the purple player. But here I guess I was able to destroy main base of the black player. Got our units from red, so they're not going to be able to do much in the next few minutes. Of course, here you can see I made a lot of munchers, which are not going to be running over to reinforce my main army, which I'm going to be using to destroy this corner over here. And here I guess orange tried to do an attack, but he also had a swordsman. Probably because he didn't know that the artillery ability from these cannons go through the shoot ability, and probably this is how he lost all of these swordsmen here. Over here, I was able to overwhelm the barracks, followed by warriors. Just now I'm going to be feeding my economy, because we get all the gold by breaking buildings, and so this way I can just get all the gold, which I can pump into making more units, and of course all the potion crates. Here orange and red decide to fight me here, but we can see I just have an overwhelming number of munchers, and the enemies are just unable to stop me here. Even though they have 4 devourers or flying heads here. No, my units can't really fight back, but I just decided to ignore the heads and just go and try and do some kind of economic damage to the enemy. Or just break their buildings. You can see with a lot of warriors, you can just destroy big buildings very quickly, which can be effective when doing a big and powerful attack. Here you can see in the middle, black and yellow managed to survive somehow by making their bases in the middle, but does not slow them down, because we have to rebuild once again. It's going to be very expensive because of these pricey farms. Require a lot of wood. Here pretty much my plan was to break all the defensive buildings or rooftop buildings, because I knew the goblins were going to be spawning any time now, and my enemies would have to deal with them And by breaking all the rooftop buildings, then the goblins would be free to just have fun. And of course here I saw that my army is pretty much coming to an end. So I decided to just annoy the red player by just destroying his muncher cave and then destroying the, I guess, the spire. It's gonna slow down his production of these effective units, the munchers and devourers. And I guess over here, I'm beginning to enjoy the wave of goblins that spawned in my expansion. But of course, I got the goblin wave of the yellow player, because he probably had a few workers here. It's gonna be really nice for me. It's gonna slow down my, I guess, mining activities. But of course over here, the blank player also had his share of goblins. But unfortunately, he forgot to upgrade his town halls, so he couldn't really fight back. And in the end, he did lose most of his workers. And I guess he then decides to surrender. And over here, I managed to clean up all the goblins here. Just got a lot of potions. Or as many as I could. Try to return to resource gathering. But of course here the red player decides to visit my base. And I guess over here the purple player managed to defend himself against the overwhelming forces of the orange player. But he did lose a lot of his cannons because of the goblin wave that spawned in his main base as well. And here I was able to just destroy a big army of the red player, because I had the small advantage of having my reinforcements arrive very quickly to help me when I'm in my main base, I guess. And I guess over here I tried to attack, but you can see here that my munchers are melting away, and it's not leaving much of a front line here, so I was going to be losing most of my army here. And I decided to retreat. I guess enemies are trying to rebuild, but orange and yellow don't really have much, and so it's pretty much just up to the red player to, I guess, try and defeat us here. Purple is trying to maybe bait in the red player, just trying to annoy him. And it does look like the red player takes the bait. And it's going to be beginning to attack into this very heavily defended position. Here you can see how effective just a few cannons can be when holding a very tight choke point. And red pretty much loses his whole army here. And purple loses just, I guess, 5 cannons. Maybe a few archers. And here, just right after the red player loses most of his army, I move in to the middle. Try and fight him. And at this point, red doesn't really have the production to fight back, I guess. And pretty much here, me and my ally begin attacking, because enemy players can't really do much at this point. And so I'm just gonna speed up, because the game was pretty much over, because my army was just a bit too powerful. Just bombarding the enemies, just killing their armies, and then, which is why the enemies decide to surrender. I guess let's see the results. Here you can see I mined maybe 50% the amount of the red player. And my ally did mine some gold as well, similar to other allies of the red player. But I guess the game doesn't really count the amount of gold you get by breaking buildings. So on top of the gold I mined, I probably had maybe 10 to 20,000 extra gold by killing units over here, as we can see, and by destroying a lot of these buildings that the enemies had. And somehow me and my ally managed to win a 2v5 by, I guess, trying to work together and the help of me reinforcing my ally and him being basically a effective defensive player, even though he didn't really have much left. Where he was rushed by a red player, an orange player who was still fighting on, which allowed me to get a little bit of free time to organize a big army and then do a big attack against enemies. Anyways, if you liked the video, you can leave a like, leave a comment. If you want to see more videos on the Scouring Early Access, then you can subscribe. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.